This video is not financial advice. I don't care about the legality of, yeah, that's going to help me or not. You guys should know that I don't want you losing money, so don't take unnecessary risks that you're not comfortable with. Do your own research. Don't be stupid. This is not financial advice, and you should know better.
Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. For my first video, I wanted to make something that I figured everyone in the crypto space needs to know. So I've decided to talk about why there will never be any Ethereum killers. It's simply not possible. So we see that, many of the networks that were being called Ethereum killers back in 2021 have now all crashed. I mean, the entire market has crashed too. So Ethereum, from its high to its low went down more than 80%. But it's just kind of funny how that narrative has changed so much. And some networks like Terra Luna have died off entirely. One network that a lot of people were calling Ethereum killer was Solana. And we can see that even to this day, Solana is still having issues even just keeping the network functioning properly. This is just from a few days ago. And you might ask yourself, why can't there be an Ethereum killer? Why can't we have a network that comes and is better than Ethereum and replaces it one day? And the answer is really simple. Every network that uses smart contracts is simply a substitute to the Ethereum network. A substitute good in macroeconomics is, as it says here, put simply, a substitute is a good that can be used in place of another. As long as people are trying to make networks that are just meant to be alternatives to Ethereum, they will never be able to replace Ethereum, because their purpose isn't to do something that Ethereum can't do. It's simply to do what Ethereum already does, but better. And you say, well, why can't the network come along that does function better than Ethereum? Why can't it be more secure and faster and cheaper and have more transactions per second? And that definitely is possible. As technology advances and new code comes out and new developers get involved, and who knows exactly what will happen. And the networks will get better over time. But the thing you need to realize is that Ethereum also has developers. Even if a network came out that was objectively superior to Ethereum, functionally speaking, in every way, the Ethereum developers would get right on it and improving the network. So it's only a matter of time until Ethereum can do all the things that new network can do too. Unless that network is so inherently different functionally from Ethereum that there's no way to upgrade the Ethereum mainnet to function that way, or add some sort of layer 2 solution that can supplement it, then the Ethereum network will eventually be upgraded so that it's capable of that. For one example of this happening just recently is the merge. Ethereum is proof of stake now. It used to be just 6 months or so ago, it used to be a proof of work. It used to take, insane amounts of energy and electricity just to run on a daily basis. It doesn't do that anymore. And now you can also earn yield as just a normal Ethereum investor by staking your coins using a service like Lido or running your own node or something like that. So that even in just the past year or so, there's been dramatic changes. And as time goes on, the network will be upgraded. They already have a long line of, upgrades in the works that they've been planning on for years. Ethereum is not even halfway done with its roadmap. And that's not to mention that if something new does come along, they'll be sure to incorporate it into the network. So there's no reason really to expect that even if a new technology did come out and a new network that was functionally faster and better than Ethereum, was created, there's no reason to expect that network to actually replace Ethereum, because that network doesn't have the existing user base of Ethereum. It doesn't have all the exchange listings that Ethereum already has. It doesn't have the notoriety of Ethereum. It doesn't have all the protocols that Ethereum already has on it. It has to make those itself. It has to start from scratch. And as soon as Ethereum upgrades and becomes just as capable as that network, it won't matter anymore, because people will just go right back to Ethereum if they left it at all. It's just a matter of time. So there's really no reason to expect that Ethereum could ever be replaced by another smart contract blockchain. And because of that, I'm going to go out and say that I believe that there is two true cryptocurrencies as of right now, two distinct, dominant cryptocurrencies, and they are Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I'm not just saying that because, you know, they have the largest market cap, but because functionally these two networks are distinct. Bitcoin simply is not capable of doing many of the things that Ethereum is capable of. And while Bitcoin does have the first mover advantage, it is the original name brand network that everyone knows, unfortunately they have simply missed out on the opportunity at this point to incorporate smart contracts and all the development that comes along with them. And because of that, these chains are functionally distinct. You can say, yes, Ethereum can do everything Bitcoin can do, but there's many things Ethereum can do that Bitcoin can't do. And because of that, they are distinct networks. Even if you want to use Bitcoin for sending payments, that's all you can do with it is hold on to it and send it back and forth from one person to another. And while that's definitely an amazing innovation, especially considering, you know, when it first came out back in 2009, but Ethereum has dramatically improved on that with smart contracts. And now you can do all these DeFi things, you have stable coins, you can do all sorts of crazy stuff. And that's something that Bitcoin simply can't do and probably never will be able to at this rate based on their developer community. And you might ask, well, doesn't Bitcoin also have other networks that are substitutes to it, just as Ethereum has networks like Polygon, Solana, Avalanche, Tron, which all could be considered substitutes according to the economic definition, again, that we went over? And the answer is yes. One very well-known, popular substitute to Bitcoin is Litecoin. And we can see just how the charts played out during this last bull market compared to the one before it with Litecoin. We see that Litecoin barely made a new all-time high against Bitcoin. Litecoin went to a high of 375 back in 2017, and it went to a high of $413 in May of 2021. We can see it barely made an all-time high. It didn't stay there at all, and it went right back down to $40 or so. And while it did go a little higher, it's nothing compared to Bitcoin, where, you know, from its high of not even $20,000, $19,666, it made a new all-time high of $69K, which is more than 3 times its previous high. And you might ask, why did this happen? Why did Litecoin do so well during the last market, but be fairly lackluster during this more recent bull market? And the answer is because it was a substitute good, and because Bitcoin got scaling solutions that it didn't have during the previous market, like the Lightning Network. During the previous market, Bitcoin still suffered from lack of scaling, just as Ethereum still does now and did during the 2021 bull market. And because of that, people were looking for cheaper, affordable alternatives to use. Not just to invest in to save on fees, but also if they actually wanted to, you know, use crypto for what it's meant for, which is to send payments back and forth in the case of Bitcoin and Litecoin, because that's all they can really do. It just made more sense to use a cheaper network. So what ended up happening is those networks went up in price because people bought into them because they couldn't afford to use Bitcoin, or they didn't want to pay the high fees. And the same exact thing happened during this previous bull market with Ethereum and networks like Phantom, MATIC, Avalanche, Solana, Cardano. All these networks, all these smart contract blockchains, even ones that aren't EVM compatible, were essentially alternatives to Ethereum that were more affordable, and that was it. And yes, scalability is very important, and we do need networks that can carry more transactions per second at a more affordable price. Obviously, paying, you know, $50 when Ethereum's fees are ridiculously high just to make a single couple $100 trade on Uniswap doesn't make sense. But As time goes on and the developers improve the network and add scaling solutions and things like that, we eventually see where Ethereum will become more affordable and the need to actually use alternative networks will go away. And eventually I expect the majority of these networks to become what I like to call ghost networks, just like Litecoin. Some other ghost networks we can look at are Bitcoin Cash. Which we can see didn't even make a new all-time high. It actually made a lower high than it did back in 2017. Now, Bitcoin Cash, of course, is a hard fork of Bitcoin itself. But the point is that you can see that these networks that were basically scaling cheaper alternatives to Bitcoin, now that Bitcoin has more scaling available through the Lightning Network, have become defunct. No one really uses them because there's no need to, because you can just use Bitcoin instead, more affordably, unlike before. So of course, because of all this, we see that for the time being, Ethereum still doesn't have any real viable scaling solutions. So the best scaling solution, ironically, is an alternative network that is smart contract compatible. But as time goes on, eventually those networks will become less used. And they're not going to die off entirely. They'll always be around, in my opinion. But they will simply become less used and less notable, and they won't perform nearly as well as the primary assets during any given market cycle, being Bitcoin and Ethereum, as well as whatever assets might be part of the narrative for that cycle, whether it's DeFi or Metaverse or something else entirely. So you might ask, what are some networks that aren't, just alternatives to Bitcoin or Ethereum? What are some unique networks I can invest in, if I so choose? And a couple examples are the Helium network, which creates its own decentralized grid of actual wireless systems that connect to your phone and allow you to have a phone service and internet service. And it's very interesting, and if you want to research that more, you can. And the Filecoin network. But again, neither of these networks are quite so large that I would consider them dominant in their industry just yet. I mean, I guess Helium's the only one I know of that does what it does, but there are several networks competing with Filecoin, such as Arweave, and Coin and things like that. So to say that any of them have really reached that point of dominance is difficult for me to say, but they are distinct functionally speaking. And I'm sure as time goes on, more networks will come out that have distinct functional abilities. But if it's just a high throughput proof of stake smart contract blockchain like Ethereum, like Polygon, like Solana, like Cardano, then Ethereum will always come out on top in the end. Because even if a new innovation comes out and a new network comes out, or one of these networks get upgraded to become a lot better, Ethereum will just do the same. So unless it's so functionally distinct from Ethereum and from Bitcoin that you can't compare the two, then there's no way that it will ever replace either of those networks. Unless those networks really, really mess things up, which I don't see happening. So if you have any questions, please, message me, leave a comment below, join my Telegram chat. If you want to donate, I will leave my wallet address in the description below. So have a good day.